Warning, the show you're about to watch or listen to may contain foul language and sentences that may make no sense because this show was made and is hosted by an American. Viewer discretion is advised, bruv.
Yeah, Wednesdays are hard to deal with. Now, hopefully Thursday will be a nice, easy day, maybe. And hopefully we can have something to look forward towards on Friday. If you're not sure what I'm talking about how we're all a bit in our feelings after that 1-0 loss to Colorado, a team we probably shouldn't have lost to. Regardless, host Mo on the Max Football Podcast, here to help break down what in the ever-loving you-know-what is going on with this team. Let's start with the stats. We're going to go down the game plan, and I think we're going to talk about the inevitable, and that is it already time to call for Mikey Varas' job? Hit the intro. Let's get into it. Intro aside, fun, cool music aside, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this game. A 1-0 loss to, of all the clubs, to Colorado, who was sitting just 1 point behind us. But then again, they looked a bit better than we did. They either lose games or they win games. Well, guess what? They won it. They won it. They were either going to draw. They were not going to draw their second time against us. So it's just a heartbreaker because for 90-plus minutes, San Diego FC looked complacent, to say the least. They looked out of funk. They looked out of form. They looked like they didn't care. No sense of urgency. I could go on and on. I really could go on and on. Chris McVay and his lack of discipline, I would say, is becoming an issue. Getting a yellow card within 20 minutes of the match. Ian Murphy, I want to say within 2 minutes of him coming on in the 70th, he gets a booking for a yellow card. And it's just, again, why? How are we so undisciplined to be making such poor tackles to be getting us these bookings? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to think. We go the entire, we go the entire time of regulation before the extra time in the second half. After the 90th minute, did Colorado score? Other than that, San Diego, at the end of the day, had 2 shots on goal, 4 overall, but up until about the 80th minute, San Diego FC had the big fat goose egg. Nothing. No shots on goal, no shots on target. None. Nothing. Unenthusiastic, unexuberant, unwanting. There was no urgency. There was no passion. There was no pressing. There was mediocre defense. Here was San Diego FC's game plan. Let me break down the game plan to you. San Diego FC's game plan has been very similar for the beginning of this year. And I've said it in a different podcast, or a different episode, of this podcast, where if it worked then, it has to work now, right? If it works against the bad teams, it'll work against the good teams, right? And some may say that maybe the players aren't up to snuff. Maybe we don't have the right players on the pitch. And within that aspect, I say that is a 100% correct assumption. However, what are we doing to change that? Outside of the obvious, the couple of guys that we're bringing in. What are we doing to really, really, really change that? The move we made was to put Carey and Sargent on the left, which is pretty average where he played, and Oscar Verhoeven to play on the right at the fullback positions, where he's used to playing. But Oscar Verhoeven in this game was poor. Consistently out of place, consistently late with returns, consistently being beaten out in not only aerial duels, but recoveries. Why Oscar Verhoeven is the starting right back for this team is one thing that scares me. Willie Camundo is sitting on the bench and was actually a massive part of our defense last season when we had this supposed great run, when everyone was saying that the only reason we had such a great run was Chucky. Maybe it was the defense. Maybe it was the defense letting in less goals. If you go back and look at it, I don't know. You tell me. I would say the defense had a better opportunity, or I should say, better experience than our current defensive line. But that's also the issue. Mikey Varas likes to sit back, soak up pressure. He likes to play on the counter. He hopes that the long ball is one of those counters in which the pace of whomever he feels has the pace that day is going to outbeat any fullback, center back, defensive midfielder that they can, and quite simply just ease their way to the ball. It's not how that works. It's not how that works. None of the guys on our team, none of the guys on the front line have the pace like that. Maybe Elijah Altry when he shows up. Maybe he'll have that pace. Maybe Gabriel Pirani, if you want to play him in the forward spots. He can play as a 9 if we really needed him to, or as a 10, who, again, would be advancing forward. Maybe those are the guys that we're looking for because they have that pace that you're hoping for. Now, having that be option A, B, C, D, E, F, I could go down the alphabet. I'm not gonna. Is the biggest issue that I have with Mikey Varas right now. There is no plan B. You know, I represent another team, or I should support another team. And within supporting that team, I've gone through a handful of coaches. Oh my goodness gracious, do we change coaches often in the Premier League? And one coach that I got was at the beginning of his stages stuck in his ways, as they like to say. They were stuck in his ways. And what they meant by that was he was so attacking, he kind of refused to play defense. His defense was another measurement of attacking. And his idea was, well, we have to score goals to win the game, right? So I'm out here to try to win the game by scoring the most goals. Not so much about defending. Mikey Varas is in a very different mindset, but at the same time is just as stubborn-headed or mule-headed or whatever you want to consider it, where he feels sitting back, soaking up pressure, will allow them the opportunity to play the long ball for a Dreyer, for a Zomble, for an Invarkston, for whoever else is on the left wing outside of Mighton. To be able to go play fetch, if you will. But it doesn't work like that. And as I've said in my TikToks, and I've said in other opportunities to just say this lovely phrase, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Mikey Varas has been sending his team out there to play the same way, heaven forbid, or whatever else, or intelligence be damned, I think is what I should say. And the guys are willing to follow the boss, and they're willing to go to battle, and this is what they come out with. Battle wounds. Just quite simple battle wounds. Because you cannot play like this. Can you against some teams in the MLS? On any given Saturday or Wednesday, yeah, you can play however the fuck you want. And it wouldn't be that big of a deal. However, this is a whole other ballgame. This has to be addressed and it has to be changed, and you cannot maintain the idea of if we just keep trying it, it'll work. If we just keep trying it, it'll work. No. No. We have FC Dallas on the weekend. We know how they can be. And I assure you they're smelling blood in the water. And if they're smelling blood in the water, it means we should be nervous. And considering how we just played, nervous is far from the only emotion I'm feeling. And it'll far be the only emotion that I feel. Actually, far be it be the only emotion that I feel this Saturday in Snapdragon. There needs to be a change of how we play. You need to go back to the roots of this game and how San Diego started. Work in to the 18-yard box before you make your crosses. We're not making them from halfway across the pitch no more. Take those skilled dribblers you have, push into open space, attack space. Then, if there's nothing for you, find a pass. If it has to be a cross, so be it. Keep it on the floor. But as I like to say in all my friends' chat groups, I'm just a guy. I'm just simply a guy. I'm not the coach. I'm not an assistant coach. I'm not a wannabe coach. I'm just a guy on the outside, passionate about this team, about this club, about what they can bring to the city and what they can bring to me and what I can bring to it. So hopefully this wanders around the internet, slowly ends up on the desk of Mikey Varas and Tyler Heaps, and they say, you know what, dude, this House Mo guy right here, he's onto something. He's onto something. Simplicity sometimes ain't that simple, boys. But I promise you, when you want it to be that simple, it can be. And sometimes simple is a heck of a lot better than anything else. Yeah. Simple is better than anything else. Keep it simple. I'm not going to say the other word. I'm not going to get me demonetized or nothing like that by saying the S word, stupid. But it is what it is. So I'm going to get to editing this. Hopefully you guys can enjoy this on your awesome Thursday. Hopefully it'll make you feel a little bit better to know that there's more than one person that feels the same way you do. And as much as I would love to maybe sing "You'll Be Sacked in the Morning" to Mikey Varas, I don't know who to even think about replacing him with. All my cool candidates pretty much have their jobs right now in England and Saudi and all these other places in between. So, if we have to stick with Varas, I really hope Mikey Varas understands that we have to play differently. And if he can't, then they say if it cannot be fixed, it needs to be replaced. We'll get into that whole topic a whole other day. Until then, thank you all for hanging out with your boy. Appreciate you hitting that like and subscribe button. We'll catch you guys in the next one. We do got a preview coming up for the FC Dallas, and I will be back with another review against FC Dallas. And I do have another one coming on your way. It hasn't dropped yet. I talked about it in all the other ones. It is a keep, loan, sell episode. We're going to take a whole look at the whole roster, who can hang out, who can go bye-bye. You might be surprised at a couple of them. So, until then, we will catch y'all around the bend. Hope for better days. Vamos, San Diego.
When you drew from both sides, San Diego, New York, London, let's rock. It's Max football. Yeah.